The first thing to do is to make sure the walls are clean. You don't want them wet in any way, so if you need to scrub them down with any kind of damp cloth or anything, then make sure you wait several hours to that. It's completely dry by the time you install the poster. But a lot of the time, little mini cobwebs or dust or things can keep the stick from actually sticking. So I've already cleaned this wall. The next thing you're going to install are the 3 tabs. Now, you see these little strips. Now, these are really special strips. The reason these strips exist is because, contrary to what it looks like, almost no wall is actually 90 degrees on all 3 sides. And what that means is if you set up the 3 big pieces, there's going to be little misalignments where, I'm exaggerating, but if you line it up on this wall, it's going to either go this way, a little down, or it's going to want to come up a little bit. And so what these tabs do is they let you lay down the rough color of the design on all of these edges. So there's a little slop. So for example, this is the center to the right, and there's little 45-degree angles. I like to bend this a little bit along the center, because you can see the center is where the edge actually will be. So I like to pre-bend it a little bit. Makes it a little easier to fit in. And this one you're going to fit exactly along the edge, regardless of the walls. So you want to get this corner right all the way, right into the corner. That's the most important part of this part, is to not have it start farther away, because then the colors won't line up. And then you're just going to rough that in, as so. And then I like to run my finger right along the edge and get it really creased in there, and then really start to rub all this down. And we'll do a final rubbing down at the end. But that's the first seam. Okay, now we're going to install the 3 main panels. I always start with the top one because that one's, I don't have a good reason. So grab the top one. This is the top panel. You'll understand why these aren't all right angles as soon as it's up. But there's always one right angle if there's any confusion, and that right angle goes all the way into the corner. And so what we're going to do is we're going to nuzzle that into the corner and get one of these edges as close to the wall as possible without it going onto the side wall. And I have to kind of come in here and look under to get this really close in the corner, because that's the critical dimension of the whole piece, is that things are close to the corner. So I tend to put my finger right on that piece and then pull this out and drag it as close as possible to the edge here. And now I can drag my finger across and start to set that in place. And as you see, we're starting to get the illusion. Now I'm just roughing it in for a second just so it's visible. See, it wants to fall. I haven't pushed pressure. Now you want to just check, is this edge close enough without any weird overlaps? And then how does that result on this side? In this side, I get right along the edge. It's quite perfect, actually. It's kind of like rare that it's that perfect. And on this side, it's a couple millimeters off, but it allows this side to be really on. And as you can see now, the edges, the tabs make a lot more sense. So this is here. There's a couple little ruffles here. You can kind of maybe see this looseness. And this is something you always want to try to get out as much as possible. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pull this edge a little bit so it starts to pull off of that. And then what you always want to do is you want to get it tight and slowly make your way down. Slowly make your way down. Slowly make your way around the whole thing. So then there can't be like a bunching up of the material. Kind of makes its way as flat as possible. Now on a stucco wall like this, no matter what, there's going to be bumps all over this because that's what the wall is actually doing. So I'm going to see all this kind of bump texture. But now we're in. First piece looks good, looks ready to go, and we'll come in and tighten that down in a second. Let's do the same with the second piece. Okay, got that edge. And now, this is a great example of, if I rough it in, I got this edge is really good, but look at what happens to this side. This side gets way off. So because of that, I'm gonna have to make amends. I'm gonna have to pull this off, And I can start here again. This corner is in the right place, but then I'm going to move this a little more down. And that way when I get to the other wall, now if I propagate that, now it's pretty good, right? I'm looking at the bottom of this, like 5 millimeters, half a centimeter. No big deal. That'll go away. You won't really notice it. So now let's do the same thing. We're going to really get this in and move progressively outwards so it doesn't leave any bubbles of any sort. I like to just use the pads of my fingers and really push it down. Okay. Same thing, third face. Take a little appreciation, make sure this looks the way you want it to look. And then finally, when it does look the way you want it to look, make sure that you really tighten it down. So, as I said, I like to use my fingers or my fingernails to really do it and to try to make sure, especially on a wall like this, that all of this stuff is really on there, because this is repositionable vinyl. This is not that peel your paint off kind of vinyl. So you really want to get all those little details. And on a wall like this, I can actually start to see the texture as I do that. And so it comes out, it kind of proves to me that I'm really getting it down and that there's no big bubbles. There's just these little bubbles. And that's just from the texture of the wall. You can really see the textures coming out as I do this. That's pretty much it. I hope you enjoy your Impossible Corner.